next installment of the series. We're going to talk a little bit about the map. Because before we go forward, we got to know where we are, don't we? Now, I had made a video. Damn, dude, I gotta shave again. I did make a video about how this world works. Now, that didn't happen until fucking later. So right now, if we're kind of going chronology-wise or whatever the word is, well, that didn't happen. But this did. Do you remember me showing you this? That is the original concept of the world, okay? This is the one that's really important because this is the one that goes forward ever since. Now, don't ask me how it came to be. Sometimes when you channel something, you can do it unknowingly, and the longer you do it, the more you start to see all the little glimpses of it, and then from that point you learn how to not do it, and then you learn how to do it. You're coming from the source, and for a long time, I've been wondering this, and then so have the other guys. What are we channeling here? What truly is this place? What is really going on, you know? Because I have another map I'll show in a minute. It's just been... I wish I knew how to explain it. It's like... it all feels so very familiar. But if you look at the maps, you'll say, well, those aren't real places. At least as far as I'm aware, I don't know. There's no lands that look like that. Especially the size of those are, you know? So I don't really know why or how this came to be. But we've just been slowly... it's been coming into vision a lot more because you explore it more. I mean, the maps in this book work just like the way they have in real life. You look at old school maps of the world and it's like, it's not laughable, but it's like, holy fuck, is this what they thought the world was? Like, what is it, Mappa Mundi? The medieval map of the world. It just seems like, wow, the Mediterranean, there's a bunch of land around it, and that's really about it. You know? And then you look at maps going forward, when they start exploring the Americas, you look at certain places, and it just doesn't look quite right, but they're close. You know, like, I don't even know how map making is done, but it's much the same. So that original map there was the first imagining of the world. I'll show it one more time. That is the original world right there. Then it started to grow. And I think after some time, while I was off kind of really forming the lore and everything, Kevin was the one who came to me with this version of the map. This is the first time the map looked like this. And that's the first time South Ansar. Like, that just happened. He's like, yeah, new land. Interestingly, that new land is where Jacob took. Very interesting to think about. But there's something special about this place, and we kept going forward in time and discovering more and more and more. And I would try to go to different areas to see just what might be there. This is the Wildlands, the Wild North at the time, what is now called Albadan. The place in which you probably never really heard of, because I've kind of done that on purpose because I have some of my own reasons for that. But in exploring all of this, it gets more clear as time goes on. You start to really see the aspects of how life evolves. Yeah. Alright, I don't remember where I drew. Whoa, whoa! Then, as time kind of goes on, I tried to really explore it. That's Voss, a little more zoomed in, obviously trying to figure out what's going on there. And then here are the what was called the Heartland and Ansar at the time. But as you can see, it's getting a little bit more clear, and then eventually we had the three maps. Map 1 is the white one here. This is the one that, golly, I think it was after 2017 I finally sat down and said, what's going on here? Unfinished because the purpose of it wasn't necessarily to be this cool looking thing. Right? That's what this map is. Now, that served pretty well for a while, but I just kind of, as time would go on, and the story was being written, I was like, I don't understand. I just don't understand this. There's something going on here. Because there was a new invention called the Murphos. Because I really learned about, what is it called? Mountain shadow or rainfall. The rain can't make it above the peaks, so on the other side it's desert-like. I was like, well, fuck, that's got to be going on. And so I fucking little panicky about it, and then I decided I need another map. And this map, the second one right here, was done in 2020. And it was the first time that I started drawing in a new way. And I don't, necessarily like it that much, but it does serve its purpose. It did for a while. And so I would just keep plugging away at learning how to do this. Because, I was never really into drawing and stuff like that. It was just not part of my... Oh, man. It wasn't part of something that I enjoyed doing or learned how to do or was even any good at. And so I just got better and better as time went on. But the map that we use now, which is this one, this is the one that is the most interesting to me. This is the last one done. I was working on it about a year ago. I think I started it about a year and a half ago today. And it is 2023, July. So it took me, I don't know how many months to do. It probably took me 5-6 months maybe to do it. But this is the one that I feel the best about. And I'd like to show a little bit more. I made a little video, the majesty of the world or something. That's a good one to look at. If you look at the map, and let's just look at it for a minute. And you just look and say, there are people that live there. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. Living, experiencing. Cultures exist there. Massive cultures. Giant divides of people. Conflicts. There are ships traveling the waters. There are trade caravans on the roads. There are people buying things in the markets. There are others in their home, sitting. Some people are getting yelled at by their mothers right now. They're all existing. There are skirmishes in the mountains over resources. There is lands that have been tainted by a curse. There are people trying to rise up and become what they thought they should have been. There are other people that are trying to destroy groups of people because they shouldn't exist. There are lands that have been swallowed by storms. There are places to which the great writers of society have never even ventured. There are areas to have such heights, yet such great civilizations it would seem impossible. There are lands undiscovered and unmapped, not because no one's done it, but because they can't. And there are places that exist that your wildest imagination would never believe what could be there too. There are places where kings sit on their thrones with their retinue around them, faces painted, looking mad, inbred, sitting there giggling. There are places where great kings are making decisions about what the world should and should not be. There are hidden kings who are deciding which ones should have the crown and which ones should not. There are people that call themselves kings but are not kings. There are kings of thoughts and there are kings of dirt. And there are lands that are a mire and a mystery to which no one could ever understand truly what lies beneath it. That all exists in there. Those aren't just things. Those are things that me and my friends made, right? Why? No, like, why is it? Is there really life there? Can that really be? Could it be? If there, then what if within there? If I made that world, and someone within that world made another world, is that not the same thing? The writer to my story, is that not a god? At least I would see it that way. Whenever I describe the creator in the book, I think of me. You know what I mean? Because I am. Or am I? Am I merely acting through him? Is the creator even above me? Did God create this fake world as well? And I'm merely just the messenger? Those are the aspects that I try to explore in the book. All of that. And that's why it's taken so long. That's the whole reason. It's like, why 11 years? Because, man, like, there are so many unanswered questions, and I've only answered a few thousand, and I still have a lot more questions. So like the map is basically, well, Atria is basically pretty well done in my mind. It feels like this is it. This is the place. But as you know, there's more going on. There's this whole other fucking world. And it's growing all the time. It's just growing so much. And to put into perspective, because this video is serving as the map video, I wanted to show you these are the lands we're dealing with not in more detail, but what is the word I'm looking for? And like, so you can find this video and see these places. Once we get into it more, we'll explore it more. But the video is called The Prelude to the Trade Wars. Each of them kind of zoom in the area where these people live. So that's how you get a better understanding. So you can see Supernia a little bit clearer. You can see Dubois. You can see the South and the aspects of it. Or Tantorum, for instance. Now, Illyria. And eventually Adrana. And Willandia. But yeah, I just wanted to lay this all out there and just show you each fucking map so you can kind of see it going forward and how the evolution started. Because this is where the world takes place, so it's kind of a good idea to get a basis of what it eventually turned into. What it turned into from, which would be the original map in the little book. From this to this. So it's generally stayed the same, but it's grown. And that's its whole journey that it's taken. But after this video, I do want to explore more how the lore grew. And from that point, we can start talking about how peoples and factions and stuff grew. And I'll kind of go into that a bit. Now, the lore will go from book to book. And then from that point, we'll go forward.